So we're back in the testing, forward testing stage of this entries on 8 hours and 4 hour scripts. So your scripts are going to disappear in about 4 to 8 hours. So that's about the most convenient way to come in front of the market in a reasonable way. And you could easily write a robot that would probably underfill the market, and this is what you would want with a robot, is something that's going to kind of perform okay, like a no-nonsense kind of approach, which will work sometimes, and people have intervened on top of robots because they realize the robot's in over its head, or how dumb this robot is, let's fade the robot. Of course, you'd have to have multiple accounts and multiple to try to offset and hedge a bad position. So if you were in the futures market and the market went against you, and you're about to blow up your account, and they would actually come and take your car and everything in your house because it's a real trade, and then you'd have to go into the options market to offset it. So you'd be chasing the premiums to try to. That's the only way to counter it, because since you're in the position, it'd be a covered call, I suppose, if you would. And all those kind of people jump ship and they run to these different instruments. So here we're coming to the end of this year, and people have to square their books away. And the clamor is that they're going to tax the fuck out of you. So people that are, I'm just too curious to see what happens to the NASDAQ. It's going to keep going up. But that's aside from what I'm doing here, because I'm just going to do a clinical view of the next 4 to 8 hours. So it's fun to speculate about what the big picture and the big, giant waves and mega waves and all these different things. And the candles here, I converted the candles on this template to be in the classic, where it's hollow up and it's filled in down. And typically the candlestick charts that I'm familiar with is the white paper where the black down, white up, so to speak. But I guess this is a black background is a little more soothing to me on these monitors, and I've been working heavily with Microsoft. A limited palette of colors and configurations, and so it's not the best for editing code, but you have to find a compromise between MT4's clunky, but Linux just really, people like to rip into MT4. There's this lady that's criticizing ICT, but she's criticizing MT4 platforms, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, so maybe you're getting a different, but she's pulling the trigger like an idiot. Like, so you see her in a video going, boom, I'm in the trade. I'm like, okay, but that's like the dumbest shit trade in the world, isn't it? Like, you should know by now that the buy that you're looking for is probably 4 to 8 hours away from you right now. The better buy, also I'm presupposing that it's 5 p.m. and you're like, yeah, about 3 a.m. something's going to be on fire. There's somebody getting their head handed to them. So we all know this London breakout strategy. Well, is it a breakout or is it a fake out, right? This is the ultimate question in trading. And so on the screen here is just the moving average that, I think it's 20, I don't know what it is. But that's actually an offset moving average that MT4 was using. So if you just go to the MT4 platform and run Strategy Tester, you'll see this moving average robot. It comes with it, Or the MACD robot. And these are free. And if robots worked, right? If lockdowns worked, you'd run this shit. But it doesn't. I think we all know that. We'd be lying to ourselves, maybe, huh? So we're going to run, just for the sake to have the robot to have something to chew on. It's going to run this stupid moving average cross. It's going to do a moving average crossover system here, which is fine. We can't begrudge the effort of MT4 and the Russians to save us from going broke by giving us a free robot. Okay? And we're going to examine every tick, and this is 4 hours, and I went in the Wayback Machine. I'm picking this date way back in here. So we can go back as far as you want. It doesn't matter. I'm just picking somewhere in time. Same thing here. I'm going to take this back. And to make the test faster, and I don't know if the data gets better the less sample window we have, but I don't know about that stuff. And I think it was apostrophe. I was looking instead of hyphen before that. So, yeah, I just remember that I don't know my grammar so well. So I'm going to play this back. This is a euro now, because I tried to run this on the dollar yen. But the problem is my grids are not set up to accept this insane dollar yen number, okay? 106. It's looking at it and going, no grid for you. So hopefully it's going to run here. So it's running only on the problem with the grid system and the problem with ATRs is that the dollar yen is such a ridiculous number. It's going to throw it off, right? It's not looking for that 6 decimal or whatever the fuck. It's destroying the math on the indicator. So we play this thing back, and we're just going to use this as our guide to what we would do. You are here, right? Like you're on the map. You are here. How do you get the fuck to there? And how long is it going to take you? And what's your realistic view of the whole week? So if you're looking at the week ahead, where's the buy and sell zones? Where is the liquidity? Where is the controversy going to be? Where is the safe zone? Is going to be all the prices, maybe looking back. Let's just pick 10 weeks. Okay, people like to do this, 10 bars back. So 10 weekly bars back. What is the average price? Oh, once again, we got bad data here. Oh, well, let you see. I can't. Everybody's got the same data. This is a completely different broker. Same bad data points. I don't know. So let's speed up maybe through this bad data here. Let this thing chew on this. This is the 4-hour chart, I think. This looks, yeah, it looks ridiculous. So this is just such a steep decline that it's ridiculous. Huh. Anyways, I wasn't expecting that. That's quite the playback gap. That's quite a gap down. Now you would have lost the, broker would have gone bankrupt on that one. And there's that too, That's why the relief valve would be Bitcoin, right? So for all the swings Bitcoin makes up and down, and like I said, if Bitcoin lives in a range of 100,000 to 20,000 for the next 8 years, who's going to make money? Well, the traders, And there's this lack of volatility, the consolidation. So wave 3 in Elite Wave, the point of wave 3 is it's the biggest wave, the most dramatic wave, the fastest, then you have consolidation. So people want to try to count the waves within the waves in wave 4, but you're talking about such a complicated thing that it's better to just put a line chart and just say, well, any triangle I can draw on a line chart. This is outside of wick entry style trading, just as time trading. Like if you could trade without stops, and you could trade a line chart, that's a completely different kind of trading then. And you can switch to the line chart here on playback, so you can find a better spot of data to get here. But if you have a trading system built on moving average, it's built on closing prices, unless you have it built on highs and lows, which most people don't. So the baseline the no-nonsense people understand this baseline concept, is that the baseline is a one-period moving average. Anything from there is starting to soften it up. You're starting to dilute you're taking away the edge. So the most obvious thing to do is to start with a line chart and get an idea of volatility based on closing prices. So you see the doji is a triangle on a line chart now instead of a small body. But you get like, if you look at that British pound, I think it was, I don't know, 2000 something, 2008 or so, I don't know. And it has 4 monthly dojis, I think. And wow, then it's over. It's over. It's unbelievable. Also, dollar yen, about 2009, rock bottom, and then come ripping back, taking out 5 years of drift down into a giant wedge. So those are profound, probably maybe not even revisited prices in our lifetimes. I don't know how long you're going to live, but maybe you get back to that price. And people like to make these long-term predictions. So I'm just trying to trade next week. What's possible next week was, after doing that last video where the British pound is whipping up and down 300 pips at the end of, I don't know where that was. We were coming into the end of the year, but looking at that chart was, if you traded any of those trades with a particular robot on that particular day, and the account actually had money in it and just the right amount of money to make a nice chunk of money, how often is that going to happen again with that robot? Like, people think, well, that robot's kicking ass now, so this fallacy that you're going to get around working. So that's the Ryan Brown idea, is that you're just going to have the robot. Yeah, okay, the robot's going to execute for you, but don't complain if the broker ain't going to fill it. Yet, if you go to Trader's Way, yeah, it's going to be a slow execution on the way out. The only way around that, I don't know if it would work, but you have 2 computers and you run the EA on both computers on the same account. So the thing cannot deny the trade. Okay, so we're into the data. I don't want to restart it. This is too much work. So I picked a hollow, and I picked 0 color for that up, and maybe I should have done that. So now we're into the market, and this is a very wide spread. You get a tighter spread on this. So I should have set the spread tighter. Anyways, that's a 4-hour chart. And, oh shit, we still got that bad data there. So let's just do this. Can't change the time frame yet. So anyways, look at the robot went short here. So I know that that's a good place to go long. So I could fade the robot. Let's just buy one right now. Okay, let's put some limits in down here to buy more. It looks like we're tanking. It's very sped up lifestyle here. We would have bought that new low for sure. Always buying the new lows and always selling the old highs. Buying the old lows. I mean, buying new lows, selling the... so the trend traders would have got in on any kind of rally. It would have sold there. There's a nice small body doji. We're going to buy this plunge. Okay, we gobbled that up. Now we're going to dump. Right about there. I'm definitely out. And why would I be out? Because of that pocket. So this is so I'm just going to draw on the fly here. Since all the wicks live below this body closing, so this on a line chart, that's going to be a perfect double bottom right there, see? Okay, now we're coming back. I got buy limits in here now. I want to do give a rectangle out. So I use this rectangle as my order banks. These last for, well, we can make it last for 12 hours. So I'm selling into that. By the way, that's a euro dollar, so I have a too wide of a spread there. That's a bad spread. Okay, so here's Sunday. Now we're crushing up. I probably would have sold into that. Yeah, I think I know I would have, at least on the 8-hour tickets. So would it get captured here? Now, maybe you have to put 12-hour tickets in here, see? So I'm going to try to make this so I can throttle this up and down. I'm going to get this speedometer in the range of... Okay, so let me just examine what happened there. So this is not a lot of pips, right? But the spread is tighter than that in the real room. Trust me. We can't change it on the fly now, but it's too late. But if I sell into that, I got to get out here because of the rule that tops become bottoms, right? So the buyers will be coming in here, this breakout. The confirmation people of not putting a buy stop here, they go, oh, I see what you want to buy that breakout. Okay, we got you. We'll catch you in the rebound. So I put my buy limit in here based on, because on closing prices, this bottom does not become a top. It's too wide of a, it looks like it's about a 4-pip window. So how cheap do you want to be? You know, this 4-hour chart. So if you put your buy stop in here and you have your sell stop here, you're still in the trade. Now you could have cashed out of something, and you should have here, even though the ratio is not that good, because you're risking you're risking 20 pips to make 20 pips, right? And so your hit target there, you've got to get out of something, get out of the whole thing. Because the funny thing is, you can get right back in. So how much work does this become? That's why so here's your top become a bottom. We break out, yeah, you could have your buy stop here, but we're going to come back and retap it anyway. So why you so worried about, right? Or you put another buy stop here and you just start buying more and you're pyramiding in. So this is the argument that, oh, fucking add to your long, you add to a winning position, right? Okay, but let's not forget about the guy that has a buy limit here. He tags and bags that. Buy limit here. He tags and bags that. Buy limit. He makes money in 4 hours. Buy limit here. Boom. Nice hammer. Then it just rips. Now, if he's still holding everything below this floor, wow. This is the flag, right? This is the flag. People will put a buy stop here. The super confirmationists, and of course by now the moving averages have turned around. This is all, we know all this, right? Everybody's aware of these situations, right? We've all seen well, this is the 21 EMA. This is what the bankers use. See, that's smart money there. Shut the fuck up, smart money. Go put your mask on. Oh, this is the cloud, see? Yeah, I got you, but we got to be able to trade this stuff. And what do we do now? Okay, here's the confirmation entry, guys. Buy stop, sell stop. Let's see what happens, you know? If you went long on this top become a bottom, and that is pretty close, right? Top, it is a top become a bottom. Close screaming up, gap opens Sunday, comes back, you get in, boom. And now you just made so much right here. Or do you want to hang out and still be in the trade here when you could have got out here, right? So this is the heartbreakers that you should have just, man, on that blast. And if you were going to go with a volatility view, is that the more volatile it gets, the deeper your orders are. So now you got buy limits down here. And actually, the quieter it gets, because now it's quiet, there's going to be an explosion here in either direction. So we're anticipating, which is my favorite thing about the guy that was the, I can't remember his name, the surgeon that became a trader on the S&P. He's like, hey, we're gonna anticipate these moves now. Some Albert guy. Anyways, I'm running out of file reserves in my brain now. I've lost a lot of hard disk space in my brain. So this is a 25 pip window. So we know that. If we put in a bank of tickets, that's 1 pip apart. This is a 25K. That's all you need to know. Now, you have a 25K with a 50 pip stop. How much does that cost? Okay, that's what it costs. So you add those tickets up. Now, if you do it right, each ticket has its own stop, has a different stop and a different take profit. You don't necessarily want to drop the same ratios 1 pip apart in a 25 pip window. This is pending out here. So let's speed it up, and we're going to go and let the market come to us on the 4-hour chart. I'm going to also put in orders that last, well, they might just last all day. Right? In a narrow, let's throw a 10K in here. 1 pip apart, but different tickets. This is the key. Unique scripts. So it could be a double click. This would be the ultimate in customizations. You write a double click that has a particular overall winning ratio, but commingled in there is the I'm going to buy and I make fucking 3 pips on this. Now, as long as the broker does not, some of these brokers say, oh, you can scalp as long as you hold the trade for a minute. I don't think that's going to work, right? Because it's going to happen like bam, bam. You have the 10K sitting in a pocket with a soft stop, which means every ticket has a different stop. Every ticket has a different take profit. In the testing I've done of randomly dropping tickets like this, has a softer equity distribution, naturally, less punishment, less linear punishment, more of a soft knee as opposed to a hard knee. I think you can have a soft and hard knee rate. You took a hard knee on that flag, dude. I know, it's a soft. Actually, I'm using we have knee pads. This year we're going to have BLM knee pads. So get your, I forgot that's in my, forgot to mention all the merch that I have. I have these BLM knee pads. You take a knee for BLM, and it's less than, because they found out that the vaccine's making your, your knee structure, your ligaments, and that meniscus is getting all fucked up by that. Sorry, another one they're not telling you. So let's think about getting in front of the market and playing if-then trades. This is the classic. If it goes down, would you buy it? If it went up, would you sell it? What is the point? I mean, so if somebody, I have a buddy that's trying to sell his building again. Hopefully it's going to sell. But he had an opportunity, like I think it was in 2008. I can't remember. Somebody offered him $500,000 for his building that was commercially zoned. This is actually a house that became commercial real estate, I think. And I'm like, I'd be like, let's go. But no, he hung around till the market went all the way to nothing. And so now the market's coming back. So if we hold on to something long enough, gold, all these things people are looking at, yeah, I mean, are you going to, if I'm long Bitcoin from 60 grand, I'm still kind of I'm like, okay, well, I'm not broke, but God, I hate losing on a trade. So every trade I do, I feel a personal. I'm like the cat lady, and every trade's a cat, but I've got like a million cats. So I do feel, sorry, killed a bug on the street. Sorry, buddy. I'm just bigger than you. So I feel for every micro trade. But the thing about the markets opening, when the cash opens, Dow Jones opens, and news has come out at 8:30, so you have this another hour of possible market moving either for or against you. And the kind of pressure. So on the way to the news, the 8 hours on the way to the news is kind of a clue of what's could happen, because they've stretched the market in some cases. Although it's a drift, it kind of walks into the news. It's usually not violent coming into the news. The violence starts when the news comes out. So they may have bid it into this vacuum, and the news comes out and comes ripping back. So if you're in these trades, which I've been in these trades, I'm in a trade right now over the weekend, severely long the euro. So I just looked at my account and I got filled on pretty heavy there. And I thought, well, geez, that's right to the end. Actually, the last pip spiked down. It came off the floor about, this is like the last 30 seconds of trade. So it'll be interesting to see how it's going to open tonight. But, oh well, it's just money. So if we lose on that, if it gaps against us, here's where the slippage would matter, right? Because you're not going to get filled on your stops. I looked at my stops and I thought, well, we're going to lose about we'll lose about 80K coming out of the gate there. But, that can happen. So I'll buy more actually if it plunges, but on limits, right? So this is the discipline part, is that I can't resist buying a plunging market. So I put the orders in deeper because the market goes further than you think it's going to go. So if we know that, then we have to put the orders in super deep and super above and below. The orders that last all week, this is why we will get filled on our trade plan probably at the same time a reversal trader would get filled on his algorithm. It's not where the trend traders are going to get filled typically. If we're going to sell new highs and buy new lows, we're always going to be it's a real difficult trade because you're going against the breakout traders, which they are right in the sense that the initial breakout comes back and then the plunge, right? So not every breakout is a fake out. And this is the argument for the breakout bot, which I tried to run one. And I'll show you something. If you run this robot on the 4 hour of the daily, it makes money. It's just unbelievable. And I think it's trading the Asian breakout then. I mean, I think this is what's really happening. And I don't know. I don't have the patience for that trade. Like, I know on paper it looks genius, but I'm not waiting for the breakout on the daily. In other words, I know it's only trading. Another reason why it makes money, it's not over trading. I think it's waiting for a day to go by before it puts a trade on. Now, if you're into that stuff, you could do that trade. I'm sure there's clunky robots that can make. This thing makes money. I guess if you turn it up, right? I guess here's where you trade on multiple currency pairs. But the problem is the delta is insanely terrible. And I think the robot's cheating because the delta is brutal at the close of day. The spreads get so wide that these people are trading. It's so funny. You go to Forex Peace Army, and people are saying, I got stopped out. Dude, you're in the guppy. The spread's going to go to about 20 pips on some brokers when 5 p.m. comes. Come on. So that's the problem. Can you hold that position with those tight stops through what you know to be the continuation of your so-called trend? That's a toughie. Let me speed this guy up. So I'm trying to get this perfect blend of controlling the speed and seeing the speed controller. Uh-oh. Shit. Oh, that's cute. All right. I can see the speed. So I'm taking it up. Now we're buying this plunge. And I'm gonna put the orders in for like, this is like what is that, 4 hour chart? So 6. Here's one day. Now if I keep dropping these, they literally last for 24 hours. So it's not actually a day. If you do drop a 12-hour script, which would be 3 of these guys. So here's your 12-hour scripts, which are really, like, if you can't get to your platform in 12 hours, right? Now we're long right now. And how do I know? Because I know we bought this, we're buying this vacuum right here. So over 12 hours, we're going to get filled here. And these are going to last all week long. And I actually think that if they last, if you set them for a week, I think they might hold through the weekend. I've never dropped a weekly order, but I actually think, I know if you drop an order here on Friday for a week, it'll hold over the weekend. So you can, I think you can, I don't do that trade, but that's a great trade because this is still the place to buy. It's so stupid. Okay, here's where it's really disturbingly dumb. I'm just buying low. How's that work again? Now you cannot buy too much in this window. How much is that pip in the window? Okay, let me go for the fastest. Okay, I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do. Crank it up. Once we get filled, I'm gonna slow it. Okay, we're getting filled. Now I back it down. Now, how do you feel about this trade so far? Now, we know we have to buy really heavily here. And now we might notice this, which I didn't mark it off. Look at this slot. Now, this is going to be the power liquidity. There's going to be so much fucking activity here that you're really going to be disturbing. It's going to be disturbing in a way. Oh, fuck, I changed the wrong thing. Oh, well, happens. This is I'm very nervous about this trade. Okay. I got so many tickets in this window. And this, of course, this is the deep pool of the abyss of abyss. And this goes back, and this matters. We don't care whether it's 10 days back. Let the market decide these vacuums. So we know there is so many tickets down there that I would have as a super high probability trade and a fast trade. And I'm buying right now. And then I would take, let me use this as my big tickets, live inside of this. So here's 8 hours, right? Because it's 2 bars. Now I drop this limit bank here, right in front of the market. And I wish I could get that. I'm going to change the properties on this. Here's another way to do it. We can make this so it's a frame. And now we can make it a little more punchy color. Okay, this is my hot box of trades. And this is going to be very aggressive. So a 4-hour bank that goes very deep. And we're going to put it right there. And then we'll put another one here that lasts for a whole fucking day. So that's okay, 6 bars. That's 24 hours there. So and just to really be a super aggressive. Now, did I get filled enough? And by the way, at the end of 4 hours here, I'm going to buy at the market. So let me fix the scale. And this is just trading prices. And I'm buying down there. So that's all there is to it. So let me make this a dark. I can't see the current price. Can't see that wick tip. All right, there we go. So that's how it is. I have a bad spread, so I'll try to ignore that spread. But yeah, that's going to be my trade plan. And how long is it going to take us to get there? So let's get through this trade. I don't really have the patience for this now. So we're scalping that, and oh, my exit. Let's get the exit written in. That's going to be, let me make this into a hollow. So I can pick the exit point. Thick. All right. So here's going to be my master, like kind of a dump the whole position where the sellers come back in, and definitely dump everything at that doji. This whole area here is so the scale out window for a soft exit. And there's going to be hard sells up here. We know we have to dump everything up here for certain if we ever make it back there. Okay, so we're going to speed up the Wayback Machine. And try not to miss this. Be careful because I can't. Oh, we're getting filled. So we're getting that great price we've been waiting for now. Now this is where it's a white knuckle for a lot of people, and this is where the power pack lies. Is in this slot, and we have another just monster bank in here, like you can't blow your head off. And that's not a very big win. This is a 25 pip window. Don't forget, we haven't even begun to get crushed here. We zoom in so we can see the complete obliteration of the market. Speed it back up, and this probably be quick and dirty. Or we're going to come retracing now. So this is where we don't know. We really have to be good at order placement. We're cashing out of something there. Okay, we had to cash out there, and why? Because on something. Why? Because as soon as we fell through the floor, the bottom become top theory is kicked in right here. You see this bottom and this bottom and this bottom. This liquidity pocket, since we come down and we crush it all the way to my premium exit entrance window. With a tight spread, we got filled on that. Then we come ripping back. So let me clear up these objects a little bit, because I can't see the wick precisely there, because this color is too close to it. Okay, so we never wicked down any lower than that. We could still come down now. So I know it looks really like a great trade, but that only came like 4 pips off the bottom. So I think we're still going to plunge some more. And we want to buy this. I mean, it really looks unbelievably brutally like going to come down. But I want to make money faster with a higher probability. Because if we do come into this window, it is going to be brutal. And if I've got enough money and enough time to have the exposure here where I'm going to buy like tons here, and just put orders that last all week at this point. And my weekly robot plunge system Man, does that thing fucking make money? So what you're saying is that I know I want to buy this week. Turn on the buy bot, and this is the only way I could do it with the robot that I wrote, which somebody wrote, and I just made it so it just does the most dumb shit stuff, which is every hour it's throwing in buy limits. Because, and with ratios that would make sense for that currency pair, for the current volatility of that, so you're really handpicking the robot to do a particular task. So let's speed this up. Looks like we might get filled here on these buys. Yeah, so we picked up that juicy ticket off of that. So we wicked down finally into that golden supply zone, right? Do we have to be there for that trade? No, because I put that trade on when we was up here. And I said I'll buy this whole rectangle. Now this would be the big swing trades. But I'm building this giant position based on taking that out. And we took this out too. So also. And that's what we're doing there. So let's put that color in. Okay, so that is the current big floor pivot, right? And everything below there is buyer's dream. The very aggressive trader, and this is the 4-hour chart, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody is long from everything below here, just saying, I'm going to gobble up all of this liquidity. If we ever so-called stop hunt these bulls, that when they came out of the gate, they put their buy stop here and they're like, oh, look, we got a flag on the opening Sunday night. Let's go long the euro. Okay, that's all wonderful and great, but then, ruh-roh. And when you drill down in the wicks on the 4-hour, you see this vacuum here. From here to here it gets filled. And I would be selling into that with 4-hour scripts and 8-hour scripts. Sell, 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 cash out, buy back into it. Actually, you could trade bookends on that. On the daily charts, this is just simply like a day up hard and then it dojis out and then Plungeville. Now we're coming back up. But having trade plans for these narrow windows, and this is not a very great giant pip trade, you know. Market's pretty quiet here. So maybe you're on the pound, because this would be the other thing. If you wrote a script that trades with a 25 pip stop, I mean, to make 25 pips, that you're certainly going to undertrade. You know, here it might be like a little too crazy, but you have to trade harder here with tighter stops because the market's barely moving. And then when the market heats up, you got to break out the wide bots or the wide trade plans, because if you're going to trade reversals, the wicks are going to be so huge now, and they're going to be, the terrain changes, and that's what people can't handle, because robot was written for a certain velocity that's not happening. And it's disappointing because it looks so good on paper. That's a back testing dilemma there. So let's go for the hyperspeed. All right, so look at that. We're cashing out into the floor now. Now we kind of have to do this. It's auto cashing out, right? So with a very tight spread, this is a high probability entry window. We tagged it, we bagged it. Now, maybe you're flat, and I would certainly myself be flat. If I can make the vacuum in 4 to 8 hours, I'm out, because we could probably retest right now. And if it came up on my platform and I saw this, let's say we just went flat on that. And let me just take it up. Let me just complete this last hour, 4-hour bar. Okay. That's why I'm out. I'm out into that floor, right? That was the original floor. I said there's somebody who's long from there. So that would be the completion of that whole thing. That's done. Now I come in with fresh trade plans. So you see, we went bookends. We took out this deep undercut. This has already been spoken for, that vacuum. So that tag and bag there that got us all that money. So the market's constantly giving us these, and I'm just going to call these fractals. This is the fractal shoreline. So the Bill Williams talks about. So to me, that is it. Like, there's no. It's kind of nonsense to put say here's the fractal. These are all fucking valid. All fractals matter. All wicks matter. All climaxes matter. So there's a climax move and higher, higher, higher. Comes back and then wow. And then look at that pullback. And if you were short from here, in this little mini vac, and then you're like, okay, they're gonna take this out. Let me ride that stop hunt down, but you gotta know when the party's over. The party's over when it comes back to Sunday. So yes, the market gets it cleans house here, here. Like they're gonna clean house here. These politicians are going to walk the plank. It's beautiful, finally. Mutiny on the bounty, I think they call it. So, and it's a long time coming with these fucknuts running the show. It's like having some asshole churn your account. So I'm gonna clear all the objects off and start over here. And we have to still trade the rest of the week here. Now maybe we're flat, and I would be flat on this trade, I guarantee you. Somewhere in time, once we got through that bad data. And let's go to delete all objects. Should be in here. All right, we got a fresh, or I could reload the template. So here's the 2.5 pip spread running. And that's not a lot of pips, but it's a great trade logically. Now what? Let's buy again. Let's start off fresh and rebuild the whole scheme. We're going to buy in here, 25 pip window. And we're going to sell above the high of the week. The highest high. We have a big sell bank up here. And we're just going to see what happens. Zoom out a level. Maybe I can zoom out enough to put enough old data on the screen here. Get away from that bad data. Okay, so now it looks different because now it looks like, wow, selling up here might be a little bit too much because we've got this other slot that goes way deep, and so here's the what you gotta be careful of is that you see how deep that void is. That's going to compound the situation. That's going to make that a hot spot. That's going to be the kill zone, what do you want to call it. So I'm more comfortable this week of just letting the robot, the buy bot, just start peppering this thing on 15-minute basis. Put in a 15-minute buy bot. And let it just sit here and chunk away, putting in buy limits here. To me, that's and then under here, all week long, I'm buying down here. We may never see that. Now we got this wedge forming, pressures forming here. I definitely want to run very tight buy limits in here now. Getting pretty big, so the risk is by the hour. So it's kind of like a hooker, Could you get sick from her in an hour? Could you get COVID? How long is it going to take you to get sick? Just buying so much down here, but I can't. So the fear of missing out for me is a problem here. I'm like, dude, if it comes down here, just sign me up. I just joined the buy. I'm into buy. So this to me is all gone. Once we pounded into all these things, we kept diving in, retrace, buy that dead cat bounce, and of course the trend traders are getting in here, right? Anytime it's overbought for them, while they're still in this probably 8 period moving averages, robots are loving it until this point, right? Here's the Sunday floor, which once you did, that would be my trade, is buying these new lows to cash out to here. So I'm assuming that's coming. So I'm going to trade that. I'm definitely going to do that trade. Buy the new lows, dump into the breakout point. So if this is the breakout and we buy this crush, we're out, and it takes us about a good 12 hours to cash out of that. But amazing, the market is so benevolent that it gives us this entry at the 25-yard line for an easy cash out with that same concept of buying new lows. This is my system, is buy new lows. I talked about this in the other video on the British pound. Notice how it's the same story, different week. And if you are building a position for an eventual climax of taking out the high of the week, which would be your long-term goal on a trade like this, where you build this position and you go, you know what? On Sunday night, when the market is here, don't forget the market's here, you're putting in your buy limits. Who's doing that? Well, the robot could do it if you don't trust yourself. The robot that likes to buy, and here's the thing, one robot can put in orders that last all week long that contour this price action, which means all those zigzags, the robot's going to buy 30 pips deep, and it's going to mimic, because if it drops it every 4 hours and they last all week. And I'll show you what I've done. If you take that segment of time, here's where you have to write a robot that's called 30 pip deep all week, every 4 hours, and just let it go. But how about set it for 12 hours? Or set it for a day. Set it for a day. Then you only have a risk of, what, 6 of these guys are going to stack up, and there's 3 tickets on each row, 3 tickets on the robot. And every 4 hours, these orders last all day, which means you have a constant risk of 3 times 6. And put the stop value in. That is that robot's risk. Now that robot I could probably run it on a cloud, although I got to boot up another computer here again. The fan died. There's actually a message that says your fan malfunctioned. I'm like, I know, I've been hearing it whine for, what am I, look like stupid to you? Yeah, I know, I blew it, but it's gone. So here we're going to play back this market fast now. And we know our trade plan this week, how it's going to go. And now we're going to speed test this, looking weeks in advance now. How many pips can we make? Now it's going to heat up. And I'd say let's turn on the, let's always have in the background, just in case, we have the 50 pip bot running. And even when the news comes out, it's not going to matter because we'll make so much money on the news just because the market slammed around. These robots that look at even a 3-minute moving average, a 3-period moving average, that's pretty fast, but even that is laggy when the markets are blasting up and down. It's not something a robot can make a decision because it's going to take him 3 bars to put that trade on, where we're just trading pure zone entries of fresh prices, and like when lumber spiked up, it was because the spread got wide. It wasn't like lumber was that expensive. It's that the carry fee, the shipping and handling is so high. And the freak out about it, people hoarding it. It's like the toilet paper thing. You just have to, you knew you were in trouble there. When you just seen no water, no toilet paper. When you didn't see toilet paper, this is a problem, people. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't buy paper towel. I mean, it's got to be toilet paper. If you've been to another country, Americans are just, it's like crepe paper over there. I thought toilet paper, but that's fucking packing paper in these other countries. Well, you can't take people's toilet paper away from them. They may have their head up their ass. That's why they want to clean, I suppose. So we'll do the faster playback here. So super fast playback. Trying to trade the 4-hour chart. I'm trying. Okay, fill my order bank down there. Jesus, fill my order bank. Can't you see it? It's not going to happen. Now I would put buy limits in. After that climax on that candle, I'll put buy limits in again now. So that's what I'm thinking. Buy limits. I need to, oh, so this fixed. Okay. Okay, I'm selling into that. I scalped something. Wow, I should have sold more. That's all right. So that's the problem there. See, look at how that is a perfect. Wow, that was, should have sold more up there, huh? And that's the other problem is that, yeah, I like this. Oh, what about that, right? Bookends there. Now there you would have to trade pretty hard on those tickets, wouldn't you? But see how that is? Look, I'm getting filled here finally. Oh, finally. So you can't always get those, and that was probably a news event. Now the volatility's picked up. Why is this a problem? Waiting for that beautiful fill on that order bank. We were hoping and praying for that. Oh, exquisite. So beautiful. And look how they just nick this almost. So that's the trade. Now you just have to scalp out of something there, because you're going to buy more now. So ideally, what you would have had done here, what you should have done, is not be so cheap. Instead of waiting for that ultimate window up there, and did you really put on 40 standard lots up there, is to sell into it. So you have sell limits in this vacuum, and you actually get short into this retest on the way to top tick Tommy. Then certainly when it comes into this, you're like, holy shit. And you got the buy limits here, but look how it dips in that window again, and one more rip. It goes a little bit lower. Now I went long in below here, right? So I would buy that 25 pip window, and the robots are onto this. And hopefully the robot that's launched at least 80K is long from this window, not because it sees that window, just because it's buying those new lows. Of course, Sunday night we carved this out, and that is the ultimate scalp coming in to Sunday night. And holding over the weekend, that's what it looks like, is that if you have predefined targets here, which I've had before, and this could happen Sunday night here, you close down hard, and when you open up, you open there, or you close there, and then you actually cut in here before you go down again. So this is the beautiful buy, drift up, and actually take out that floor and drift above. Now I'm buying again. Big buy tickets here. And to me, this is easy because I can just turn on the buy bots and let them gobble up all this plunge. And cashing out, we'll cash out above this. We are out, and we're going to go flat above here on everything. I want to be 80% out now. Now buy limits again. So the beauty of this is that we come back in with the buy limits and do the whole dumb shit thing again. Just keep buying low. The trick is to keep your powder dry, because when you take this shelf out on Sunday night, it's worth this. When you take out this new low, it is worth even more on the retrace. See, when you bought this new low here, it was worth even more than just to here, or even just to Well, I guess it made it to this. And this is where people can't believe it, that the real trade is to have so much, buy so much below here where everybody thinks it's just going to fall into this abyss, which it could do, but you got to step in front. Look at the last day on a Friday. People that, and I don't know why ICT thinks everybody has a sell stop there, but he's talking about giant goobers that trade breakouts of weeklies on stops, apparently, or on the hourly or 4 hour. But yes, these guys are right sometimes, because if you put a sell stop here at the beginning of the week, right? Now look at the reaction. Why the reaction is so hard? Because of this. And this vacuum's filled up. And this is why you don't want to step in front of this vacuum here thinking, well, I'm just going to sell. Now it is true that if your tickets only last an hour, you just capture the top of that, and now you're making money off of that wick. Right? This is the slot again. So full circle, and actually goes blazing through this floor that you said, if you buy below here, you're underwater. Okay, if you could wait until next week to get paid, even those tickets are winners. And this is how you would make 50 to 75 to 100 pips coming back. So, right? And now I'm making money. If I just waited till here, but I could have had those orders in all week long. This is only the beginning of the week, and now I got buy limits here. So I can see I would have went long here for the scalp, and now I got sell limits galore up here, and it's easier to trade now because the market's calming down. I would turn on my sell limit bot and a deep, so here's where it'd be tricky. A shallow sell limit bot and a deep buy limit bot, because this is the next COVID down here. Here's where the mutation lies. Right? And below here. Big buyers below here, all the way to Memphis, and big sellers up here, all the way to hell. So if you take out this weekly high, there'll be enough to maybe come back and crush this. And it's going to be that situation where it goes round, full tilt, and round the block auctions where you get these kind of search and destroy mission. Okay, now they're coming into my sell limits and I'm short. So it's never a dull moment with these motherfuckers with the price. So, oh shit, I got to get rid of that. I can't see where the wick is here. Oh boy. Here. Okay, we sold into that vacuum. Don't forget. And we cashed out. We're done. That trade's over. Now we're going to sell again, but not. We're going to sell on the way to the top, and now we're itching for this to happen, which is these pendings we've had down here all week. And this is going to be the big plunge, the new big plunge zone. Now, if you're willing to buy below closing prices, so if you're scalping to the floor and you just trade the wicks, the aggressive buy trader has a trailing buy limit like this. He's constantly coming below it with buy limits now. And that'd be me. Now, when I do this, I'm going to say, okay, let's put in the 1 hours. And I really don't even care if we ever make it above the high of the week. I don't care if we take this out. I know I'm going to sell up here. Now, this is the one I probably have on another account. I'd open another account, and I'd dedicate it to a wholesale bank up there. This is another way to cushion the blow of any type of harsh equity changes in your life. Because if you go short on a standard lot at the tip-top tick Tommy, and this becomes a 20 pip breakout before it comes ripping back, right? Look at that. Now look at that rip back. Wow, dude. Now if you're still short from up here, I would be like, wow, let's get out. Now I would have bought this plunge. By the way, I know I'm getting crushed here. Okay, now that's coming into my big kahuna buy zone. I said that I know I'm getting filled. The robot or the broker that I just set up manual my plunge protection team or my vacuum kill zone entry, I know I bought that. I've already set that trade up. I never got filled on the fake breakout above here. So those tickets never filled. No harm, no foul. Now I'm making good money and I scalp out of everything right there. Now I put buy limits back in. Why? Because now the party's on for this week, right? Last week, people scalped to the floor and beyond. I just come in the buy limits. I just bought that 4-hour plunge. I guarantee you that's my trade. Now I got buy limits all week long down here, just itching for another fill. And I got the whole week set up. This is no-brainer territory. Sell limits above the high of the week, all the way to heaven. And more sell limits up here. Once again, looking for a top tick Tommy to come in and buy this breakout up here, and I'm going to go against him. So if I have very tight shallow, I'm short right now. I'm going short, and we're going to cash out if we ever make it back to here on everything. And then I'll rinse and repeat. So if I actually do that, I'm going to delete the boxes upon fill. Okay, we're flat on everything. All right. So we just got everything. We're flat, and if I stuck around for that wick, I would have been buying into that on this account or another account. I would have bought into that, right? So I'm constantly buying and selling. I'm out now. I got sell limits above. New trade plan. So I'm going to simulate how it's going to go. Sell limits galore, and wow, sell limits getting filled. Boom. See, now they did take that out, and as soon as we cash out, I'm going to delete all the objects. Pretty white knuckle stuff, but we got to wait until we come back to the breakout point, which is that top rectangle. And so upon that, I will scalp, or if I'm in really big, I would have scalped out those top tickets. I would have taken profit on all the trades I'm up on, and I'm still underwater on the rest of that box I'm sold into. But I just sold more up there. Don't forget, I'm selling that at 20. Okay, I'm flat right there. I just went flat on everything. On everything, see? Now, I bought that plunge. If I wasn't in that market, oh, wow, look at that. Fucking news. That is brutal fucking news, and I sold into that. Now, it didn't matter. I'm short in this box, I guarantee you. And as soon as we come out of that box, I'll delete it and go flat on that. So trading's very easy. For me, it's easy. As soon as I'm out. Trade's over. Now buy limits are getting filled. You must know by now, I'd be buying the plunge. So all I'm doing is range trading it with limits. Now look at that close on Friday. Oh my God. So, wow. These are hairy. I don't know what this is. Is this election or something? This is hairy shit. So buy limits here all week long, and sell limits, just the weekly tickets, sell all week long above here. Conservative entries. And on the 1 hours, we got buy limits. We just got filled on sell limits there. We just took out this high. So I know I scalped that wick. Because I got my sell limit start here. We scalped to the breakout point. And maybe still holding. Now buy limits below here. And that's it, just back and forth. And we are going to get, so our tight stops are going to get wiped out. Our wide stops are going to put us underwater. So I'm scalping around swing trades. The scalp part is that if I just bought that plunge, I probably went flat right there. And then I put the buy limits back in. It's very quiet now. It may take a long time, but I got sell limits pending up here now. This has become a new slot of liquidity, and then here is the big buy zone. I just got filled on just got filled on this window, and that is the ultimate whatever you want to call it, zone. And in where we are getting long now heavily. So that trade plan finally kicked in. Took some time. At the end of the week, it finally filled. Beautiful. So we went long and actually closed up. It was kind of amazing. But we cashed to the floor there. And we're going to get out of that box that we bought. We bought a good chunk, of 50 pip window there. But we only filled on this much. And we will cash out religiously at the top of that box, which is the support. And when we get out, we delete the box. Now, we could have an engulf. And if you're a big kahuna swing trader, you're still holding it. Now, that was the scalp portion, and you could have held that, and that's a beautiful fucking trade. And you're selling into it all over again. So here's the perversity is that you have to sell above here. You get filled coming into Sunday night, but if you had some balls, you sold this wick. And you're underwater on those tickets right now. Now you're selling more. And you're really loving this contract. You sell more here. Cashing out. When we get back to here, I'll dump the whole position when we get back to this price. Boom. So I go flat here, even though we could engulf because it's such a hairy top, but I said I don't really like to hang out. I think I'd probably come in with the buy limits here. So that's the ultimate swing is you're still holding the shorts from that tippy top. Now, I would rather buy that plunge. And because I want to go flat and I want to buy that because that's a short-term trade. That's why I want that trade. Now, selling above here again. More sell limits pending. And I'm cashing out of these longs. Now, buy limits. Come and get me. Cashing out, boom. 4-hour trade. Buy limits again. So as soon as I cash out, I come back in with the buy limits, looking for that 4 to 8 hour trade. Big fill here, buying at the market. I think I'm buying at the market. When I see that shit, it pisses me off. I'm like, really? Okay, fucker. So when I actually buy there because I really get pissed off. I'm like, really? You guys pull that back fucking far? Really? And these anger trades turn out good because I'm buying like can't believe below here, right? I'm fucking buying all that shit. I buy this 4 hour, I buy that, and I buy that, and I go, really? Okay, fuckers, I'm putting in buy limits down here. I'm like, bring it. Let's buy here. Now I'm cashing out into this anger, 25 pip anger entry window, and it went even deeper. So I bought the new lows, right? Buy new lows. What a week. Holy shit. Another fill deep. Now this is a very difficult trade, but we're looking for it to come screaming back at the end of the week. And this is where it's really a daunting week for you. Because if you're doing what I'm doing is buying new lows, you're like, holy fucking God, man. Now here's why this is such a violent retrace is because, yes, it's gobbled up this deep wedge that's part of last week's. It's like when the river comes by, it carves out the riverbank. So you get there with this shelf. But this is such an old price in here. And, man. And holding it into Friday's close and cashing out into this floor, but even follow through. So I don't stick around for that follow through shit because I'm like, because I want to buy this. I want to have free margin ready to go back in and do this trade, which I prefer this higher probability window of, let's just buy this wick, right? Let's buy this part on here. And it closed, and it meets my criteria of closing under the floor. And we look for that engulf and then total engulf and taking out the high of the week. And we would sell into the high of the week. And we sell off of that wick. So see how that's all these supply zones, and I'm buying this plunge. Right? I got in here because I'm just trying to make my 4 to 8 hour, 12-hour trade sometimes. Buying again. Buying if we close down here. So beautiful buy here. This is the befuddling thing. So here's what's really torturous for people that trade moving averages and all that stuff. And they're like, holy shit, man. I went long here. I put my stops in here, and they're taking out my stops. What the fuck's going on? So this is the ICT saying that the retail traders have sell stops here. Well, maybe somebody does, but let's hope not. Look, I made a smiley face there. I didn't even know. But yeah, you got to be the guy buying this. When you see next week, you got to buy. Oh, there's going to be a trade. Oh, look, hell to pay. Look at hell to pay all the way to here. Hell to pay. Nobody makes the euro sit in the corner. I got buy limits down here. That's my algo. Buy new lows. And we'll need to buy all week again. So this is a punishing week down. Kind of a relief week, but then another punishing week for the euro, and we just gobbled that up. So that's my favorite trade right there. That only lasted. That was 4 hours. That was actually part of that was it was over in 15 minutes. So the art is to get that big fat ticket down there that you're done. Look at that. Oh my God, what a beautiful engulf. So if you bought this, you could have cashed out here, and now I'm buying that giant plunge. And that has to be now here's where the robot that sees the market move in 4 hours clean, open to close in 35 pips in 4 hours, that rarely happens. Maybe here. So I also have the robot I would love to run is the one that buys those hard down moves. It buys here, and it builds these giant swing positions. On another account, you'd really have to dedicate this to another account. So it's buying these giant plunges. Once again, I'm buying into this. It's pretty hard to do, I know, but it's going to pay the rent. I'm never going to be selling at the market here. Unless it's cashing out on my buy limits. So once again, we're buying this whole week, and we're underwater or stopped out if we didn't cash out on some of these decade bounces. But here's where we really have to be loading the wagon. And so this is that other window. Another week of a deep buy, and it's paying off. And the cycle here is, it looks to be like this typical, you make a new low, you come back, you make a new low, you cash out, engulfment. You make a new low, you're going to engulf. Now it looks like you're going to rip the head off all the way to here. Got to get back to this doji. This would be a doji on the week, I suppose, or in the half of a week. A couple daily dojis. Now we come back, flying back. Now here's where it's okay, right? And the fundamentalists will say, yeah, well, we always knew, and this wedging down, this is also like a news wedge down on the 1 hour. You'd see something like this. Here comes the news, and then wham, and then wham, and then people are like, Jesus Christ, look at that. Yeah. And once again, at the end of the week, everybody's cashing out. And that would be one of the best swing trades you'd have this week. And this whole time, you've really gone against all the trend traders, right? All their algos, all their shit is saying bearish. Wow, look at that wick. That would have been, I would have loved to take that. Now, as soon as the market opens on Sunday night, I already know my trade plan, which is let's buy. Why? Because it's probably going to tank. And I don't want to sell. I already sold when I got out of my winnings. So I come in with the buy limits and I go, bring it. And maybe you do have a buy limit sitting here at this perfect top becomes a bottom, but I got buy limits all down here again. It's going to be the same stupid shit. So I'm buying this. I'm underwater. I'm buying that whole pullback. And if it takes this out, I'll buy even more. Pretty tough. And the week's not over. So we could take this out. We could. Absolutely. And people are really counting on that. I'm sure the bears are like, dude, my target is down here. And they're going to hit it. Look at, boom. Now, I just bought so much below here, and these are tough, but I've had to accept the fact that that is my favorite trade. Say what you will, and I'm buying more again, right? Big buy limits, just really stressing the account here. Going to dump everything here. I have to now. I just bought even more. But I cashed out here, don't forget. I got 25 pip targets built into there for certain. Now I'm really pissed off. I'm going to buy more. I remember this phase of the market. Now this is probably the hardest you'd ever push this concept of buy new lows. But you have to see that if you put in the tickets that you will, if you have a 100 pip stop and a 50 pip stop and you have bad ratios, you can make money. Here, I think I would buy so much here that it would just be, people would wonder, but you have to. And I'm buying below here, and I'm buying again and again. Now, this is a difficult situation because you got 1 week down, another week hard down, and you're buying into that. Man, you want to cash out. So if you started this week alone, you can't be still holding a position unless you have a 200 pip stop. Or you have no stop at all. You just kept buying. Every 4 hours it was down hard. And of course, if you did limit your trading, and this is the other thing, is that if you have a multiple, like you're able to trade this much volatility, these kind of moves, your robot that's triggered only when it sees the market down 25 to 50 pips. And when it sees it down 40 pips or something like this, it just buys. And it's bought all these plunges. Don't forget, it's buying all these plunges. It just bought that one. And we're probably falling into some giant void. I can't look back because I know there's bad data there. But I guarantee you we're in a giant vacuum now. And so if I bought everything below here, here's where you'd have to cash out, right? Because the top became a bottom. You know where the sellers, you know where the trend traders are going to come in. And since I'm not a trend trader, because I always feel like I'm going to get destroyed when the retracement comes. But that's just from my past experience of being a contrarian. Oh, look at this thing cashed out, or is that a long position? Is that a loss if I took a loss? It went long there, right? So you cashed out. If you bought this new low, you cash out here. If you bought this new low, you cash out here. If you bought this plunge out, you have to cash out here. Right now it's getting wild because we've been going down for how many weeks now? Now it's crazy time. And so maybe you lost that whole thing down. You could have still lost if you sold at the market. How's that? I mean, if you sold in the downtrend, how did you lose? Well, I sold here. Sold, it was over. It was over. Bought in a downtrend. So I sold here. And I sold. My last signal was to sell here. But I never took profits. Well, now they're going to crush you. right? Now this would be, if I saw this thing close, now this is the first time that we've had a dark cloud cover from the bottom side, where you close that week higher and you kind of take out, now you got a first bullish candle on the weekly. So from a binary standpoint of the weekly trend just being the last week's no moving average, just, okay, we got a bullish candle on the weekly. We're in an uptrend. Start running your buy limit bots. Now, if you had enough money to run a 300 pip stop, and I used to trade like this actually without stops, so I know this trade works, and I know it looks inconceivable, but I had 20 brokers and I had no stops. And what I would do is just keep buying into a plunge on a currency. Every 4 hours it was down, I go, I'm buying. I'm just buying because I am. Because fuck them. And so here's what it looks like. It looks just like this, right? You're buying, and each thing between here is a week. So this is pretty tough stuff, right? If you, and I did buy, and I would make so much money, it would just blow your mind, because this is like a British pound buy. It's a different situation, right? This is 100 pip, a 200 pip stop. If you start buying here, you would have survived that. If you martingaled into that, where you bought a 10K, a 20K, a 30K, a 40K, a 50K, a 60K, right? And the robot could have bought that for you and built it, and you'd look at the robot and you go, well, no, you know what your strategy is, to buy low, sell high. And you're cashing out right now on the whole position. Now you come back in with the buy limits. Or you've always got, did you sell into this, by the way? Pretty tough. You'd have to, it's kind of hard. I'm sure there was some scalps in that, but yeah, you have to sell into that. If what, right? Look at this retracement. Is this a problem for your robot? Is that a problem? Now, you told me that if I bought below here, I was down how many pips? Wow. Look at that thing. It made it all the way back to this box. Now here comes the paybacks or hell. Ouch. But I thought you said, so here's the thing. Did you have the balls to sell this fractal and everything above that? And if you did sell here, if your stop was too tight, this became a 25 pip winner. This is very treacherous market to trade if you're not willing to accept insanity and pure chaos. The real market isn't a fucking algorithm or some, I don't know what that fucking means, but it ain't some moving average crossover cloud system. Can't be. So for me, it's going to be this. How do I make money from this insanity? I'm thinking, I'm happy to make 25 to 70 pips. 100, it's going to take a lot of time. Why? Because I could buy this plunge here, this 4-hour vacuum on limits, to make 25, 50, 75, 100 pips. When it gets here, I'm probably out, because I can just put buy limits in again, or I can put sell limits in. Am I going to stick around for this? And look at that fierce retracement. Wow. If you held, and you got to know your own self, can you hold a position for a month? By golly, if you could. You know how many pips you could make? Not dollars, but pips. And then, of course, put the number in there. Look at this thing. Look at Sunday. So I'm definitely saying at this point, these guys are out of their minds. Now we've gone too far the other way. I'm selling into that. And I just made 50 pips, 70 pips. I'm selling again into this. And now I just sold that. I just sold the high of the week. And now it's kind of getting easier to trade because it's like, dude, are you serious? Look at the landscape of this. Look at that retracement, dude. So that's why it's just, you wrote an algorithm. Now, what's the moving average based on this to make this tradable? That's not going to work. Stop it with the fucking moving averages. Man, look at that sell window up there. Wow, that's pure gold up there, man. I'll tell you what. Very difficult trade. I mean, you just got your head handed to you selling, and this is what people are. The biggest comment I get is, what do you do about this? Good question. Because if you can handle trading with a bad ratio, let's imagine this. You bought below here with a 300 pip stop to make 100 pips, and you keep dropping that same ticket. There's no way they're taking you out of that trade. And you're martingaling in. When it retraces, you make your 100, and there's another 200 to make back to here. 100 pips here. 100 pips. I'm easily selling into this like a blind ambition. Sell into that. Buy into this. I may not even get filled. But if I do, that is just easy fucking money. And this is just like that chatterbox we saw in the pound. Boom, 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 boom. It's coming after this. It's coming after your guns. They want your guns. Did I say that? Oh, robot's triggered. Coming after your guns. And you get your guns. So we definitely cashed that out. We sold into that, and that is my favorite trade to this day. New highs, new low trade. Oh. It just, the contrarian in me just loves it. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck your mandate. Here, so we came back to the breakout. See, that would be the scalp. You only made 25 pips on that. Now you're getting crushed. Crushed selling into that. Oh my God. But I love that trade. I would have sold at the market here. Now I'm putting in the 100 pip stops. I would trade so hard on that if I saw that, if I woke up in the morning and saw that, I'd be like, oh, turn on that sell bot. Oh yeah. Let it happen. Now that's tough. Let the robot do that one. Okay, he's up 50 pips off the top of that. If you martingaled into that, all right, you finally made your 60 pips off the very tippy top. Now when we get to the bottom of the box, I will go flat on everything. Oh, well, look at that. More selling to come. All right. Bring it. Oh, more cells getting filled. Oh. Isn't that funny? Look at that. Look how far. Another 50 pip windows I'm selling now. Put the big trade bot on. This thing's flying back, isn't it? Look at that. That is incredible. Okay, now we're cashing out. Fantastic, easy trade. Sell new highs. Yeah, running 50 pip stops to make 25, running 70 pip stops, and all these scripts. Really, you're trying to. I guess I'm baiting the market to fill me. I'm putting in orders that last 8 hours, typically max. because this way I don't expose myself to, if I put an order in that's 100 pips deep that lasts for 8 hours, it probably won't fill. And as the account gets bigger, I put in aggressive orders that last shorter periods of time closer to the market. So there's this whole kind of mass inventory things going on. It's about inventory and distribution of risk over many tickets. Exploiting the micro account. When I see somebody trading 33K like the trading girl, I kind of cringe because I think, oh, she has a narrative in her head about what the market's going to do. Isn't that cute? When it is so silly. Look at this winning trade here. If you're still holding those shorts from Sunday's breakout, some guy said once, I think I was doing a live stream. It was Sunday night. I started trading. He says, who's trading on a Sunday night? I'm like, why is this price? Look at that. That's the high of the week so far. You're up 100 pips because you sold Sunday night on this insane breakout. Wow. And in the big picture, look at that. Man, I'm telling you what. And that, yeah, I'm sure the moving average is saying buy. It is a pullback here, buy. But I would have bought that anyways, for the sheer fact that it's plunging. I'm buying that. I guarantee you I'm buying everything below that wick. It's very simple for me these days. I don't really even have a doubt that I want to buy low. Now, when it closes there at the market, I'm a little suspicious. I think we could go lower. So if I'm not getting filled on my limits, I would buy at the market. But now I know this is the... Notice this reoccurring slot we see. That undercut. As you're looking into the market, as market profile looks from the right side, market profile is turning the market and looking at the market from this direction inward and seeing the price bulges. So this would be a very popular price here and all that blah, blah, blah shit. But the undercut of, if we ever close below that, I said like buying here, I would buy at the market, be forced to buy at the market here if I didn't buy enough on limits. And if I know I don't have limits here, I'm like, damn it, we got to buy that. I wish I would have bought more on the way into this, and we'd be up on all these tickets. If we scalp just to the floor conservatively, and we're still holding, we would have made till here. But now, in a rinse and repeat drama, which is the labor part of this game, is we're buying again. We're buying again simply because we're hitting new lows. And this is the conservative thing, is to buy below this, not to buy on the way to that. But as you can see by the shitty spread we're dealt here, you have to buy on the way to that. So you have to buy this column. Now we're long, and we'll cash out into the floor. We're forced to in money management. And then just by the sheer fact that we have built into there some 50 pip profits, we're cashing out. We made that money in 4 hours. That is my favorite. And now we're going to buy again, new lows. And I just find this to be the feeding zone, is the new lows. Tis it not? Tisn't it? Buy, buy, buy. Easy peasy. Here's the undercut. We're coming into, again, this shelf and this wedge. Yes, right here. Fill, set it and forget it. In fact, scalp to the floor. Did you catch that? It was pretty quick and dirty, you know? Right to there, and then buy, 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 buy. This is probably really upsetting if you've never bought a plunge like that, but look at the payout. I couldn't zoom out fast enough for that. Wait. Please hold. Your trade is very important to us. So look at the drama. When we make that climax move, we inevitably pull back in a harsh, brutal... There's an ad on the radio now. It's brutal. I gotta call somebody. I got the COVID. Look at this. Look at the feeding frenzy off of this. And who couldn't see this coming? Now here's the deep shelf. Nobody talks about this on the videos. I do. Look at this order block shit. Liquidity pool. Sleeper cells down there. What a reaction. Son, look at this. Come here, look at this reaction to this price. Now that is a fucking beautiful trade. That's the fastest, dirtiest money you'd ever make in your life. And once again, buying it all over again. Bring it. Oh. Beautiful. Now I'm going to cash out to here. I'm going to buy so much in here. So fractally speaking, this is the same as this wedge, but even mo better. Buying again. And we went flat. We went flat on all those buys, and we're going to rinse and repeat and buy again in this hole. Can't wait to get filled on that. Don't know if it'll happen, so what I did was, on my high-risk account, I bought everything below here in this vacuum. And that slot. And that paid off. Because I don't think I can get this down here. I think I'm being a little bit... Now, maybe I will get it now. Right? Now. Now it could come down here. How about this trade, though? Everyone's a winner and 50 pips off the top of that slot. So we're buying and selling. I guess lack of inventory here. Okay, heavy sellers above here. I'm one of them. The robot just went long like an idiot. Okay, and still a big buyer in here. And now I put the buy limits in. Getting filled. Buy limits here. Getting filled. Cashing out of something. Come down again. All right, come down again and fill me. Let's have it. Bring it. Perfect. More fills. Now, this is the easy trade for me, is to buy as it plunges. It's unbelievable. And look at, they trapped the guy that sold a pant load up here in a very narrow slot. Not the saying you couldn't be the sniper that babysat the entry here, but typically you'd probably want to just put the sell limit up there. You know, this is really the ultimate 25 pip kill zone. And you just made X. Pretty fucking good ratio, right? At this zoom in level, it's a whole different view. Isn't it? You can see the buy limits getting tagged. Cash out, we make our 25 or 50 or 75. Now, buy limits and sell limits. Let's just do that trade. Okay, getting filled on the buy side. More fills. We got big buy limits down here. We're going to cash out. We probably cashed out of something. See how it's coming back now. Not more fills. We're definitely going to go flat if we make it back here, but we don't. We got to go down more. So I allow for, it's like an Afghani withdrawal. I'm leaving another country that I've been bombing for. We're going to do it in a manner that's. So that was right. We planned on buying below there, and we got in and we bought at the market. Because we just went down 100 pips in 4 hours clean. We got to get off something here if we ever make it back to there. And look how we're giving back everything. You have to wonder, well, what happened to all the bulls? Holy shit, we're back in this plunge thing? What the fuck? Wait a second. Let me understand this situation. you're telling me we started out here and we went all the way up here just so we could come back to here? Look at that slot. So here was the big slot, big feeding zone. Now it's feeding off of that. And if you can handle buying that, you will make money. But you got to step in front. You got to step in front of the market there. And you got to say, I'm a big buyer. Anything on the way down all next week. And you tell your family, and you tell your kids the college funds on this trade too. If you ever come back to here, this is where you bet to here, and here's where you sell your wife's wedding ring down here. You buy down here like your life depends on it. And when it comes back to here, a lot of people are getting out. And hence the reaction off of that floor on the wicks. Now buy limits again. And hopefully you took your 50 pips and I'm going to buy. Oh my God, this is getting easier. So as the market, and when you can get out of that trade where you just bought here, you got to get out of these trades. Honestly, it's trading. Look at the money, right? Look at the money on that. And I'm looking at the market vertically every 4 hours like this. Typically, this is my view. And I'm buying this plunge right now. Loading up. Down here. No-brainer buy. Buying at the market because it closed below. And more buy limits here. Cash out on something to here. And I'm going to buy at the market if it closes down again. Getting filled on limits. Wow, this is when you really... Look at this. More limits fill. And why is this... Why do you have to buy at the end of 4 hours here? And my market bot would do that. Look at that, how it closed at the end of 4 hours. It's a shaved candle. That's insane. Wow, that is wicked. Look at that. Holy shit. It's hard to buy that. I know people, 100 pip window. Can you buy that? Does that make money? It makes 200 pips. Why? Because look at this beat down. Where's it coming back to? The starting gate. Where was that? This wedge. I told you. You just hocked your wife's ring to buy this. And, honey, is this going to be a good trade? It's going to make 150 pips. I put your wedding ring on the line here, babe. I already bet the kids' college fund when we got in below here, so deal with it, right? We scalped to that. We got out of that trade, hon. We're good. And here, I'm going to sell our cars and buy below here. Are you up for that? I don't know. I was kind of nervous about the last trade you put on. But that's why I see it, man. That's where the money's at in these psycho moves. Okay, we're getting long. Oh, just bought another 50 pip slam. The grid doesn't even pan out that far. Oh, that is some... My God. See the probability of scalping to here? Oh, man. Honey, we just bought back the car. We bought below here like you told me to, but I'm a little nervous. How long do we sit in this trade? Okay, it's going to take us to make 200 pips. We're going to sit in this for another 2 weeks. Okay, well, they're calling about the mortgage on the house. Trust me. Buy low. We're buying more. Honey, we're buying more. How much did you buy again this week of the euro? Well, I rented a car and then I sold it. Man, I hope you know I hope you know what you're doing on these trades. Where's your stop? I'm using 400 pip stops now. Actually, I pulled the stops out. We're just risking the whole. Yeah, we're down here now. You thought that was the bottom? I did. How long are we going to wait to get paid on this trade? at maximum playback speed. So this, we're going to find out. So I don't know if you've ever been in a trade like this. I used to trade like this because I would hold the trade until the account blew up. I'm still in. And the British pound would drop like this too. Don't forget, I'm still long with the kids' college fund. I just sold the car. I think Trader Dante talked about this trade where this guy called him up and he says, I just fucking wiped. He goes, do another credit card. And this is the hardest. This is why trading is so difficult. Is because to make 300 pips, you've got to risk 300 pips. You would have to step in front with this system of buy new lows. Don't forget, you got in below here, you bought this whole thing, and then you told your wife and kids that their life, you will make them into, you will human traffic your own children 150 pips below this low from 4 weeks ago. Look at you, scalp to the floor there. So the scalpers that stepped in this week, look how it engulfs, and it actually takes this out and becomes a 20. Now this becomes easy trading, right? If you're still holding this position, you're waiting for the market to make it back to here in a, it's gonna take a while, but maybe it looks something like this. But I can guarantee you that I bought this plunge and I'm going to keep my buying campaign going because I'm selling where the trend traders are going short. So what's the difference? There is no difference. What I'm leery of and what I find uncomfortable is selling here and selling here, even though that's a winning trade. There's something special about buying new lows here, and there's something that's nice and lazy about just throwing in a buy limit grid and going, I know this trade. You know, I know this superhighway. I know this familiar song, and this is Sunday night, and this is the trend lines, which is just a consistent move at a certain angle. Look at this beat down. You really think this can keep tanking? And what's the, so here's the first smack against the floor. Can they hold it down here? I say not. And when you come into Sunday night, if you had the patience, I suppose, to wait, which I'm not going to because I don't know when it's going to reverse. And there was so many great trades there on the plunge. And if I buy here with a 100 pips stop to make 50 pips, I make my 50 pips. So I know it looks brutal because in the overall scheme, this looks like a hell of a beatdown. But don't forget, how much money did you make on this trade again? You bought all the way into that. And that was a winner. You bought this giant plunge in the 4-hour robot. The robot that sees 120 pips down came in and bought that. How many 120 pip sell-offs do you see? Here's one. Not a lot of money. Here's one. Good money. Here's one. Excellent money. Sell-off. Excellent. Now it's ranging. Now we're reaching the floor. If you're waiting for this target, and I swear to God, I would wait for that target, and I would go from $500 to $5,000 on the account. This is at 500 to 1 leverage. And 400 to 1 leverage is Go Forex and all these people. Forex for you with a number 4. Forex for you. A lot of Cypress accounts and just, man, you know, and of course the moving averages are going to start to turn up and the trend traders are going to give up on this downtrend maybe. And maybe we'll be up here. Now I buy that plunge. Now I am looking for them to engulf. Now I am looking for them to blow that out. It's more likely now because how long are you going to keep this thing trapped under the floor here? Can't hold down underwater too much longer. We're going to start breaching this. And here'll be the sell targets. Here's a wedge. Here's a steep slot. Oh, people will be cashing out up in here. Oh my God. So I would take profits on each rooftop, on each wick tip. Cashing out here. Okay, pull back. People are cashing out there. We punch up, we pull back. So I probably would love to go flat. If I'm in really big here, I'm like, yeah, let's just throw buy limits in, dude. We're coming back. So that's what I like to do, is go flat, come back with sell limits and buy limits, but close to the market now. So once I've established, we made this, and we could have bought this pullback, or we could have bought every plunge. So when we see a small pullback, we can trade with tighter stops. Another rule of thumb, so to speak, is that a small pullback, we run tight stops. Big ones, we run wide stops. So pulls back, buy with a tight stop, but not too tight, right? 50 pips maybe. Buy, and buy. Now we're buying. We're buying here on limits. We just got filled on that pocket. So the sellers that sold up there, they're making money. Now we're looking for it to breach out the high of the week. We still think there's plenty of, like I said, we're waiting maybe a week, 2 weeks to get paid here. So these are giant swing trades that make a lot of money from a swing trading strategy standpoint. It's just waiting. Well, we can trade around it. So I see the swing and I see what people are doing, you know, the long-term traders, but like I don't have to play that game. I can come in with my 4-hour strategies. And I guess these are time strategies in a way. Buy limits here for 8 hours. Sell limits above that all week long maybe. But I kind of like just buying below here maybe. Real heavily, and there could be news coming up and we could invade that now. There's been enough times gone by where the market's itching to come down and clear out this, right? So maybe we have a power pack here or another broker. And no fill, no harm. If these expire in 12 hours or 1 day, hey, you know what? It's all right. All week long we're buying down here. And maybe we just did this trade, so we made our 50 pips. And look at this wick, see? Buy limit, we got captured here. Now we're holding. We are looking for drama up here. We got sell limits up here maybe. It depends. If you're not in, I don't like to buy into this breakout, see? Now I am expecting a gushing move, but I'd rather make my money in 2 hours and 1 hour and 15 as we go up in. So I probably would have scalped this 25 pips. I guess it's a kibitz trade because I think we're going higher. And I think there'll be a lot of drama off of these wick tips in here. And there's the wedge. We should see a violent crush and a retrace out of that. And if you're still holding, don't forget your target is in 1 week or 2 that we make it back to here. And these are big long cycles. It takes patience for these trades. Cashing out automatically now. Cashing out on that wick tip, we see it reject fueling on that, and there'll be a bunch of drama in this slot. 4 hours straight up clean into that, and auto fills on the limits. We put those orders in advance. The obvious setup. The setup's already there. Sell limits up here too. And that's what that looks like. And of course, we hit our target in 1 week. Our target being, so you can test yourself on this, but of course you have to have those patience, which I don't have, to ride it out and wait to hit the double bottom that we took out in this whole crush. Trap below the floor, pop up, come back, confirmation. You know, trend traders that trade a 5-minute, 4-hour chart. 5-minute robot would work good on a 4-hour chart typically. But you still have to be aware that the sellers got in short here, and that is the turning point, cash out, pivot, and everybody is. Even if you weren't long, you could have shorted that, and you're up 50 pips, 70 pips now. Now, obviously, if I'm not in, my next trade plan is going to be the no-brainer. Let's buy low. I want to try to capture a falling knife here, so I'm going to come in with my buy limits all over again. And I just bought that plunge there. I'm cashing out. And I'm going to sell above here. The market's tamed down. It's easier to trade now. I got sell limits up here in this bank. Getting filled on the sell side. Expecting a 100 pip move upside. We have wide stops on there. And cashing out in the bottom of the box. If I wait 4 more hours, I go like this and I say, you know what? Let's get out. Let's go flat and come back in with the sell limits above and the buy limits below. Getting filled again. And we will cash out at the top of that box on what do we have? A new buy window. It's going to be here. I'm gonna move this to. If I get the highlight, I really got to change the. And there'll be buy limits down here, right? And these are big windows. We can stuff a lot of tickets in there. And that's that. That's how we roll. More another 2-hour, 4-hour chart, 2-hour video describing the trades on the 4-hour chart. I'm getting filled up by limits here. And I just feel like this is a relaxing way to trade for me because I'm just like, if they go down, I'm buying. Call me in the morning. Now I'm getting in on big tickets. I got the big bank in here. I just marked that off. Carry this forward. That's the big juicy buy. All right. So, and we cashed out on something up in here, as you know. 25, 50 pip targets. The spread doesn't look too bad at this view. See at this. Okay, now we're long. We're looking for more sells up here. Now these tickets expired. We're going to come in with sell limits up here now. On the way to the top. And maybe we're flat, so if we are, we're going to put buy limits here now. I'm getting filled. We're in for 75 pips. And we cashed out of something there, at least 25 to 50. Now let's buy again here in this new low. And I got more money in the account. Let's imagine that we're making money. We should be. We've got to pick the right windows to buy and how many tickets and what's the cash outs. We're buying this rectangle. Everything below here we buy. Rest of the week. No questions asked. Okay, now if we are a little too shy about it, if I'm not in, and I think we're going to really go up now, I'm putting in buy limits again. So I would have come up underneath the market like this with really shallow buy limits to really get long. So now my trade plan looks like this. Trade plan changes to, okay, let's get in here. Let's buy this hard. I'm already long from under here, don't forget. Right? I'm building a position on limits. It's just coming into my banks. And we got scalps interwoven in here. Beautiful. Easy fill, easy trade here. Just let it happen. It's just money in the bank. Every time they push it lower, especially at this rate of change, back into not a vacuum, so to speak, not an old vacuum. We got this same old bullshit price here, right? This is prices we've seen before. It's no surprise. But it's just trading vertical trading, I would call this. We just trade pure price, buying more again. Pretty tough, you know. This whole week, you're just like, I can't believe we're buying this shit. But that you just have to trust and believe in your system of, and that is the shelf. We're coming after this turnaround, but we know that the buying really comes in dense on this wick, this lonely wick here. Big ass buyers, and of course this is one of those weeks where the whole week is down. We open Sunday, climaxing into that supply zone, which seemed like, wow, that's all the way down the whole week. I would hold this for until we make it to the top of that box, right? That's our big buy zone from last week, right? That has not changed, right? That's the big buy zone. No fill on those bottom tickets, by the way. Committed to buy more here. Yes, we really want to load the wagon when it ticks this out. Now that's a classic. They'll just nick that. And this slot is so that's Sunday night. That's how it looks when they go, oh, well, we're just going to go down a little bit more. And, of course, if you are backing your stops up into that, you get pissed off, right? They might even take out this wick, which I'd be very happy about that, too. Because, to me, this is the big exit point for everybody that's buying this plunge right now. This is still the big exit right here. Boom. So I'll go flat there. Now that could be follow through, but I'm not sticking around. Okay. And even and I would actually put sell limits in this pocket. So I'm flat. Now I put the buy limits in again. And now I feel even more confident that it's going to get lazy now, and we're trapped, and we're trapped in the middle. You know, we're kind of like, if you look back in the big picture here, we've been around the block, and we're kind of trapped. The next kind of zone to invade would be here, right here. Come across the border. Coming to get you. George Bush, we're coming to get you. Yeah, Patriots Act. We can lock you up for being a patriot. That's how all their bills are the inversion of what they say. The Patriot Act is about locking patriots up. See how that works? It's called bad law, but we let it go because it's so profitable to our psychopathic ways. So here's the new feeding zones, supply and demand zones, building up pressure. And that's it. I would just be buy and sell and let it happen. So a very conservative trader would say, let's wait. So in less than a week, we were able to make it back to the floor and then beyond by a few pips. If you're real stingy, you made an hour 25 pips. But when this is happening, you couldn't believe it, right? And people won't believe it when it comes up into here and it comes down into here. But actually, I want to sell on the way to it now. So I see it coming. Let's sell that. And let's cash out when it pulls back off of that. Let's take that 25 pips. I'm always trying to make that 25 and 50 pips. Okay, now we're heavy sellers in that window. Right. Let's make our 25 and 50 in here. Let's get these more precise. All right, we cashed out into the breakout point. Maybe we're still holding. If not, more selling. And maybe we're still holding those shorts. It depends. Everything depends on the size I'm in. So now I'm definitely going to sell more above the high of the thing here. Selling here. And maybe you're holding short over the weekend. Now this would be ballsy, right? Because it looks like we're going higher, but inevitably, if you had your sell limits up there, you might have just sold the high of the week now. If I'm not long, I'm definitely going to get long here on this. Right? I'm going to get long here in this pocket. And I can see all my trades ahead of time. Buy it down here. But this was a good trade. I'm going to cash out. And I'm going to sell everything above the high of the week. And I'm waiting all week to get filled, I guess. I'm going to buy down here below this wick now. I just went short, I'm sure of it. And we're willing to sell up into here. Where's the next shelf? Here's a hot spot in a 25 pip window. And this whole thing is the hot spot, right? So we're getting this big giant. There you go. So we're short, we're holding and cashed out and cashing out and probably buying that plunge. So see how much money taking out the high. Look at this. Now here's where it's bloody, right? Because if you're buying on limits now, wow. And why do you have to be thinking that this low of the week here is the golden entry zone? So that's a vicious pullback, and even if you got stopped out of that, people say, what do you do about that? If you got stopped out of that, whatever you put on here made up for it. And look at that brutality. It's brutal when you got to call a family member and tell them that they died of the flu with an unknown entity on them. But this is a great week that proves the range trading rules. This week looks like Chop City. What the hell is going on here, people? Buy, 4 hour, 8 hour buy. I bought all that. I know I did. I bought all that. Gobbled it up off of these wicks. Buy. Just made 25, 50. I'm out. 50 pips. Bought below because of buying below here. Again. Probably bought this whole thing down, actually. I would not expect it to take out the low here. So because I'm thinking that what's the chances that I'm going to buy that whole 4 hour bar again? So here's where I get very aggressive because the market's quieting down. So I'm going to stack stuff in like this. This vacuum here I'm buying. I'm just buying because now here I'll buy again. Buy limits all the way down. Getting filled. Sunday night, cashing out. Or cashing out here even maybe. Now this is ripe for the selling. This is the new void. Buying again. So this looks like another easy week of range trading. Buy limits here. Buy. This is always ripe for the pickings, cashing out. And this is easier money. 80% of the market is going to be this bullshit right here. Tanking, coming back. Buying that, buy. And buying really heavy amounts. Copious amounts below that. Right? Lonely wick entry. Anything that takes that out, I'm buying a lot. Another call your mortgage company. Sorry, honey. Sorry I shrunk the bank account. So it's all for a good cause. For the greater good, don't forget. Okay, I don't know if we're going to see that price, but we're long here, and here's that new low just by a little bit. So you really got to be... They see how they nick that, and then boom. Baby, come back. Once again, buy limits, I think, is a scheme here. I'm loving buy limits only now in a shallow The contest is to get these orders in just right. Goldilocks trading. Buy limits, buy limits, buy limits. Let them come get me. Fill me. Filled. Filled. And big tickets getting filled in here. Big ones. Expecting lower prices again. Doesn't happen. Scalped out of that. Now we come in. Now we get it filled. Way better. Deeper, harder, faster. And we could take this low out back here. Oh, that's ripe. Still my favorite trade. Look at that. A nice clean 50 pips on that wick. Still my favorite trade. Is going against the goober. Now look at that. We took out that low. And we ripped off of that so hard that we made about 70 pips off of that. And I like that trade so much, I'd do it again. Rips. Come back in with more buy limits. So actually a plunging market to me is a higher certainty of fill. We just filled that. We just made 25 pips. Now we made 50. Now we made 75. We're coming to the floor. Now there's a potential to close the week out up here maybe. So if you are long from here, and you've been shitting your pants for how long now, and you martingaled in these 25 pip kill zones like a complete trooper, like a real contrarian would do. And this is contrarian trading, by the way. That's probably why that one guy doesn't like me. I come to see the dumbest shit in the world. Yeah, I know. And cashing out, if you're still holding, you have to wait for this one, right? A disciplined trader would. And that's your target. And if you're not short, I would have sold above that. It's still a sell up in here. All right, still. So it's not only awkward because I'm selling here, even though this is somebody's target up here. I had to sell off of that wick because I just have to. My rule says a lonely wick needs a sell limit. So that's 25 pips. Not to say we can't keep coming up, but now buy limits. Filled in the buy limit up 25. Okay, now we're going to finally see if we can cut up in there. There, sell limits are getting triggered. Cashing out of the longs. This was the target. It's close enough for me. I would have got out, and besides, I would have got filled on my sell pockets up here in the auction window. A nice deep vacuum. Worth 50 pips in 4 hours. Is that good enough for you? Now we just bought that plunge. Still looking for it to cut up in here, though. And it goes on forever like that. So if you can handle being in the market for 3 weeks, my God, yeah, you can make 500 pips. You can build some Mondo Cane position and ride it back the other way. That's always possible. I can't do it, but you probably could. I know the no-nonsense guys could get their brain around this this trade. You don't need to build anything, and you don't need to backtest it because I could take any data set, and it's all that's going to matter is that am I running a 300 pip stop or a 30 pip stop? You can see if I ran a 300 pip stop and only put in a 40K, still a lot of money. Still a lot of money. It makes money. Here, the ultimate target's being hit right now. So there you go. We finally made target, and we just took out this, and we just triggered the sell here. So that's the feeding frenzy. Anything above, all the wicks above are above close. Here's the only closing price above that. Cashed out, and I would have bought that. So this is in one of those news events, and look at this. Look, if you waited long enough, right, now you're making your 500. See how that works? This is probably news. And you could have been set up for this. Looks like FOMC bullshit. And you're gonna, it's tough. It's very tough for the trend traders to wait for their indicators to catch up, I think is the problem. Let's take a big picture view of this, and you can just see the psychosis there. See how stupid, how disturbing that is? Look at this juicy sell window. 100 pip window sellage. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. You're up 50 pips on that. Oh, robot's done trading. How did robot do? Let's check our results here. Hey, look, it made money. Son of a bitch. God, I hate when that happens. This dumb shit moving crossover system. Look at that. I mean, it's up like $100. Here it was killing it. At trend trade. That's when the market. Remember when the market was dropping like a horror? So, once again, the robot also proves the point that, yeah, 80% of the time is this, and then there's that one great trade. Remember that great trade we were in? And look how this mirrors the market. Here's like wave 3, wave 4 of your account. But we're up on the account. I don't know what you're talking about. And that's only that one series. 27 trades in what? 2 years of data? What the fuck is that? Okay. In 1 year. In less than a year. All right. So that's that.